welcome back to another episode. Recently, I started a new job. This is my 4th week, and I am working at Absolutely Marvelous. And this place, we make stone bench tops. So, of course, almost straight away I thought, I'm going to try and use some of the stone to make a lure. And like I said, it's only my 4th week. And Adrian, the boss, who's actually a really good bloke, is quite a big fan of fishing. And he is super keen to see how it goes. So he had no qualms with me staying back and using the tools and trying to make a lure. So that's what I'm doing. So this is a bench top I'm working on at the moment. I've built one for a service station today. As you can see, there's quite a selection of stone. That's all stone stacked up that way. Just turn this bench top upside down. That way I can work on it and not damage the surface. We got this cool looking one here and the Galaxy Black. What we're going to make is a hardware spinnerbait and the Galaxy Black. And just a lipless crankbait out of this one here. So I'm going to cut them out, stick them on, cut 2 blocks that are big enough and stick them together with tape so they're side by side. Then what I'm going to do is stick the shape on and cut it out with the diamond grinder. Everything here is pneumatic, so it's air run, so it doesn't short out. If you run water, everything's got to be wet work so you don't breathe in any dust from the stone. So I'll cut it out with that. I'll shape it with a polisher, which is what this is. And these are all different group pads. So it's 100, it's a 50. Go from 50, that's up to 3,000. So we'll polish the shape up, polish some eye holes, and see how we go. It's way too wide for this, even for a spinnerbait. I'll dry these up and stick them together and stick our drawing on. We'll go from there. That doesn't work because of the water. This doesn't work because of the water. Shape and blind. Starting to look over there. I'll do a bit more on that with the polisher again. Just drawing it onto here if they start good in a couple of minutes, and we'll cut it as well. Do the rest of that with the polisher. The camera went flat, so I ended up polishing the black one exactly the same as the original one which you saw. It's the next day, and Kyle, before he went home, put both of them on the water jet over there, which you're watching now, and cut them in half. It's made a little bit of a mess of the lures. Sorry for the noise, we've got people in here still doing stuff. Made a little bit of a mess of the lures, so I'm going to polish them flat. Then we're going to put our channels in for our hardware and glue them up, and we might finish shaping them a little bit more. I reckon we'll be done in the shed here tonight, and the rest of the assembly will be done at home. We shouldn't be too much longer. So so far it's been about an hour and a half's work for these two, so pretty good going. You know? Just grinding some channels for the wire, if you can hear me and see me. What I have learned working here so far is that nothing will stick with water on it, like nothing. So you have to dry everything perfect. This glue, Integra stone glue, once it's set, it sets like stone, but everything has to be dry, otherwise it's not going to work. So just wiping everything down, then I'll get the blower out, the air hose, and I'll blow everything down, and we'll get this done. Kyle's obviously keen to see him done. He did the jet cutting for me before he left. I was going to try and cut it with a grinder, but I'm glad he did that because the grinder is about 2 mil and the jet cuts about 1 mil, so saved a mil. There's already plans in here. Everyone's had their input. I'm going to try this again with a different process from the beginning. So, but we're going to finish these, get these done, and then we're going to try something else, and it should come up pretty good hopefully. Galaxy Black, I'm just going to smear glue and squish it and fill everything inside. Because it's a hard body spinnerbait, the toe point will be up here and the blade will cause drag, so it's always going to sit that way in the water. When you retrieve it, it's going to sit the right way up. Lipless crankbait on the other hand will fall whichever way it wants. Hooks aren't going to be enough to weight this because the stone's probably heavier. So you'll see I've carved out the top half. I'm going to glue around that and hopefully not fill that up, and that'll cause a cavity of air in there. We made a bit of a mess there, but we'll patch that up. Of course, that'll create a cavity of air, and that will make the top half noticeably lighter than the bottom half. It'll still sink rapidly, but it should correct the way it falls. This bit of stone I'm working on is just out of the rubbish. So I'm just going to mix Integra straight on here. Media grey, I think that will do this stone. Gotta make sure you get hardener. If you don't get any hardener, it won't set. Squeeze a bit there. That. Just mix it all up with the hardener. Then grab a couple more clamps and just do the exact same thing with the black one. Just going to polish the glue off these now and then see where we're sitting. Oh, righto guys, be like that. Hold on, all sorts of crap in your way, there we go. Right, so we're clearly at home in the shed, and what I've just done, as you can see right now, is give them a bit of a sand with an 80 grit. Really slowly by hand. You don't want to cause dust. The stone has silica dust in it. It's really bad for you. And you would have noticed in the earlier parts of the video, we were doing everything wet work to avoid the dust, but at home I don't have the stuff for that. So we do everything we can to avoid creating dust, and we don't work here, we just work over there, so any dust drops. Oi! Any dust drops away from us. Well, I put a mask on and it was still a bloody battle to try and minimize the dust and do it as slowly as I could. Definitely don't play around with stuff without having the right equipment. I don't recommend trying this anyway. It's not easy. But if you are going to play with any sort of stone, masks, make sure you wash up. Minimize the amount of dust you make. You just don't want to risk it. It's not good for you. So I couldn't not make dust before, so I had a proper respiratory mask on, not a bloody foam little thing, like it's a proper seal canister mask. Make sure you mask up properly. What we managed to do was just make 2 little flat spots for the eyes on this one. It was very awkward, but they do sit flat onto the body and in just a tiny little bit. And with this one, I've cut a groove and I've cut the eye so he looks angry. And that's what we're going to go with. So we're going to, in a minute, we're going to put the epoxy on these and then put them on the turner, and that'll be it for tonight. But I just want to bend the frame a little bit. The timber version of this lure, so I've just made it of stone. About there's where I want my twist. So I'll come up and then around. This is actually a spinnerbait, so that's how I do it, how I've done it in the past. I'll hold that there, so I'll twist that like that and then twist that in, then hold it again and twist it back, just to get everything in line. Well, that's bloody messed me up, hasn't it? Look at that. The epoxy's literally just started to go off already. What's going on with that? I guess the bonus to having had epoxy and clear coat issues in the past is you learn how to deal with them. I've got it back to this, but I am also not going to risk using that again to coat these, so I'm going to go straight to a clear coat, which I'm really not sure about. Oh, sorry guys. Which I'm really not sure about, but what other options do I have? So we're going to go do that now and put it on the rotisserie. Pilchard for the WA trip. I was going to try and make a few of these and do a video on it, but I'm really running out of time. It's a pin through, so there's eyelets like this out there and then a pin through the center. That's how it's joint. tighter weight to the front, and then send it around the rotisserie and just loosened all the joints up. I'm very happy with that. Pilchard. Right. Well. Right well. We're about to tie the lures onto the rod and cast them in the pool of testing. Now, we head off tomorrow. I'm flat out getting everything ready. We head to WA tomorrow, and by the time you see this video, this lure will have been won by someone in the raffle. So we raffled it off. They won't have it yet, I doubt it, but anyway, they will have won it. But we are making more of these. Chatting to the blokes at work, they're stoked with how they've turned out, and there's been ideas pouring in left, right and centre from everyone about how to make more of these quicker and improve them. So we're going to be doing that in the future, but let's go and see how they swim. This one, I'm not doubting at all. It's a spinnerbait. The other one, a little bit. Oh, it's dead something. Can't see, I can feel it wobble. Like, look at the line going. Oh, that works beautifully. Look at that. Was a bit dirty. Didn't even get close to the top. Look at that. Look at that. You can't see anything. Look at nothing. I see. Can you even see that? You glare that way. Let's do it this way. Still glare. Still glare. Actually, where the shed shadow is. Man, I don't think you can see that. That's amazing. That actually works so good. Tracks, the wobbles back and forwards, the blade spins, obviously. Wow, I'm actually stoked with that. That works so good. Happy days with the spinnerbait. Let's try the lipless. Now, I don't know how well the cavity worked. The air pocket cavity. I'm not sure if it ended up filled up. If it did, it's really going to affect the way this tracks. You might say, what about hooks? What about hooks? But I honestly think hooks are going to have a slower sink rate than the body itself. So I don't think they're actually going to make any difference to the way this swims. We'll find out if it actually swims. Works on a hop. Works on a hop. No, it tracks the right way. It drops. Oh, I think with hooks it actually might work pretty good. There might be just the right amount of drag to keep the back behind it more. But if you drop it, it drops. So you drop it sideways, it's actually dropping the right way. So the air pocket must be working, and it's got a wobble on it. If you just jigged this up and down, you'd catch a fish. But thing with hooks, that would fix the drag issue on that. Well, it would create drag and actually keep the tail to the back. But we'll reapproach this one, I think, next time. I think definitely, well, actually next time we're definitely going to get focus on the spinnerbaits because they work fantastic. These, I will think of some other way to correct their action, because they work a bit like Sex Panther.
They've done studies, 60% of the time it works every time.
That doesn't make sense.
That's the two lures made out of stone. I want to thank Adrian at Absolutely Marvelous, my boss, who was happy as for me to use all the stuff there, and all the other guys at work who are actually so keen now to get in and reproduce these spinnerbaits. We have some really good plans. Keep an eye on Instagram. We're not going to do another YouTube video on building them, but I think we're going to produce some good lures, like better than that one. There will be no visible line down the middle. We've figured out, actually today, my last day before I'm away for a month, we had a guy mitering the back, not mitering, milling the back of the stone down. So we've made the stone 12mm thick instead of 20, which means when we put it together it's at 34 instead of at 40. So then we're going to put hot glue the two faces together, so dead straight center, shape everything around that, heat it up, the glue will let go, do the center work, and then when we glue it back together we have a perfectly zeroed line, like a dead flush line that will just hold everything together, and there'll be pretty much no visible join in the lure. That's pretty much how the glue works. It's fantastic. So we're going to have that. I'm going to get the hooks that are used on the timber ones, which are a better hook. We're just going to make a batch, like 12, for some of the guys at work and for myself, and maybe for Patreon. Yeah, definitely for Patreon. There'll be 1 or 2 on Patreon given away. So if you want to be in a chance to win a lure every month, go and have a look at our Patreon page. That's how we thank our patrons, by providing lure giveaways and merch giveaways and all sorts of other stuff on there. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe, because we are off to Western Australia tomorrow for 1 month, and we are filming how people live underground in the desert. We're going to go look at the Wolf Creek media site. We're going to go look at saltwater crocodiles. We're going to fish out of a kayak, not where the saltwater crocodiles. That'll be a separate thing. We're going to do some kayak fishing, beach fishing. We're going to explore down the west coast. We're going to camp and have a great time. We're going to document everything we can for you guys on all of our GoPros and our drone and all that sort of stuff. So hit the subscribe button not to miss out on any of that. And thank you very much for watching. We appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed. Catch you in the next one.